Hello and welcome back to Raised by Giants, where we talk all things spirituality. I'm Ryder Lee. Tonight we have very special guest, Gosia from Cosmic Agency. But before I introduce her, Raised by Giants is now on Rokfin, and apparently there's some confusion about it. It's really just an extra show per week that I'm doing, and it's not $10 a month just for my content. It's for everyone else's content as well. It's not a paywall just for me. I'm still doing my 2 shows a week here on YouTube. That's not going anywhere. All I've done is add an extra show that's going to premiere once a week for my premium content on Rokfin. If I did air them here, then my channel would be taken down. And I love being here on YouTube with you guys. So it's just more sensitive, trigger wordy topics that I'm discussing over there on Rokfin, and that I don't want to discuss on here because that's not what this channel is really about. But you can make a free account over there and not pay the $10, and you'll get all of the content that I also produce here on YouTube. And not only serves as a backup channel, but also an uncensored platform and all the other creators' content you get as well for just $10 a month. So if you don't want to pay the $10 a month to get my premium content and everyone else's content on the platform, like Tinfoil Hat, Zero, Leak Project, Forbidden Knowledge News, Eddie Bravo, Jimmy Dore, Isaac Weissap, Jay Dyer, and many, many others, then follow Raised by Giants on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. I upload the audio only version of the premium content I post on Rokfin a day after it releases over there. So it's a win-win, guys, but I do recommend that you at least go over there and create a free account and check it out. The links are in the description. They're all in there. Also, a big shout out to all the viewers that sent me donations to help the channel grow. I appreciate you a lot. So much, and your support means a lot to me. This takes a lot of work and time, guys. You might not think it does, that podcasters are just sitting here in front of a screen and blabbling off, but I'm a one-man show here. I do it all, and it takes time and energy and effort. And my guest here, Gosia, knows how much time and effort it takes to just produce one video. She's producing content all the time. And I do it because I want to get you guys the best possible content from any guests that I bring on. I do my best to think outside of the box and ask questions that people never been asked before. So thank you very much for your kind and generous donations. I appreciate you. Check the links in the description for donation options. So without further ado, now that that's out of the way, introducing tonight's guest, Gosia from Cosmic Agency. Gosia was born in 1977 in Poland. At 22, she left her home country. She lived in the USA, Australia, Costa Rica, Spain, and currently in Finland. Graduated from Queensland University with a degree in comparative religion. She is the owner and producer of the YouTube channel Cosmic Agency, through which the Taygetean Pleiadian communication is shared. At present, over 350 videos produced since 2017 in an almost daily direct live written contact with the Taygetean Pleiadian crew in orbit of Earth. Hello and welcome to the show, Gosia. Thanks so much for coming on. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you very much, and thanks for this introduction. And hey, I do hope you're going to ask me some questions that have never been asked before. As you introduce yourself, that you dare to ask questions that have never been asked before. So yeah, bring it on. I am open to all kinds of questions. And thanks for the invitation.
No problem. I appreciate your time, and I'm really excited to talk to you here today. And I've watched the majority of your videos over the past few years, and I find them very credible, that they have and know information that no one else does. So let's kind of start this off with how you got into contact in the first place, Gosia, because that's an important aspect of this, how the contact is made, and it's in written form, correct?
Yes, it is correct, even though we did have audio with them a few times too, but I can explain that a bit later. So yes, for all the new audience of your channel, hello, by the way. And I'm Gosia, and I have been in a written direct contact with the Taygetean Pleiadian crew, not just me, but also there's Robert, who is doing this work in Spanish. I do this work in Spanish and in English. And they have been in contact with many other people as well. So it's not just us. It's just that I think both of us have been the most passionate about sharing what's in these conversations. Do you want me to say anything about Taygetans? I guess so. Who they are? Yes.
Well, I mean, first let's get into how it's
Okay.
done through a computer software program, correct?
Yes. So let's go back to the beginning. We have been introduced to them, to few of the crew from Toleka. That's the name of their ship. By a lady. That was when I was living in Spain, an older lady who in that time had the contact with them, because like I said, they have been talking to so many people, hundreds even, I would say, since 2008, writing direct live contact. And so we have been introduced to them by her, and then slowly we started to develop friendship with them. First, it was with a girl called Zvaru of Era, and we started talking to her almost daily. And yes, this is a written contact, which means it's not by letters, even though such contacts also exist. It's by the technology of the internet. They have been channeling before, which is a very real phenomenon. But since we have developed the technology to communicate through the internet, they have actually discarded channeling in favor of this new type of contact, because it is more reliable in terms of passing vast amounts of knowledge directly and undistorted, because channeling can be a bit distorted sometimes, and anything can get in between. And they are now preferring this type of this method of communication. So everything I have in my video is undistorted and is exactly word for word what they said. I have to say this also from the beginning, that it's not something that they are actually passing to us, maybe now, but not in the beginning, passing to us as to tell the people. It was started as me sharing the conversations, private personal conversations that I had with her, with Zvaru of Era, with her approval. And it's not something that they approached us with. They were never asking us or any of the contacts they have to share anything with the people. So there has never been any agenda behind this here. Since the beginning. They were actually quite doubtful. Zvaru was not sure actually if she wants to add more information on top of so much information already available to the people. And even sometimes, I must say, actually, there are debates on the ship whether they actually want to continue or whether they believe that they should continue, maybe not talking to us privately, but talking to us and then us sharing that information with the people, because there's a lot of pressure on them here as well. And that's another angle here. And there's a lot of sacrifice on their side. Actually, they are losing health sometimes, a lot of energy, a lot of effort goes into this, not just on our side, but on their side. So actually, many of them are even sometimes against this. So my point with this is that there is no one pushing us to do this, and there's no agenda here, with us sharing this information. It's just us purely volunteering to share what we talk about with them. Some of it is more informal, what we share, some of it's more formal. There are all kinds of videos, like you said, over 350 videos in English. I also do this in Spanish, so it's both Spanish and English. And all sorts of topic, anything is covered, from science, technology, spirituality, metaphysics, consciousness, history, ancient history, navigation. Now I'm actually doing the 4-video series on stellar navigation as well.
Which just goes completely over my head.
It does? Yeah. Okay.
It would take a quantum scientist to figure out some of the information that they're sharing, but I still enjoy it. I still love it.
No, it's true. Actually, some of this information, yes, it's quite advanced. There are people who get it. There are people who don't get it immediately. Sometimes you have to watch it many times or read the transcripts. We have all the transcripts on our website, zvaru.org, and it's all free for your reading. You can download PDFs if you don't want to watch the videos. So yes, some of it is quite advanced. And actually, the video I'm working on right now is on stellar navigation, about how the objects and situations are inserted into the matrix, because it's all numerical, digital sort of matrix, and they can insert things. And anyway, and because it's so advanced, I'm going to actually make a live after this video to help people get through some of the concepts.
Absolutely. And you brought up channeling in there. And I think it's important for people to know that your information isn't channeled information. You're not a channeler. And no. You have that banner up before all of your videos that says that this is not channeled information. But I still think it's important to make clear that you're reading the conversations in your videos that you're having with the Taygetans on your video from the typed direct communication with them. It's not their voice, it's your voice, to differentiate between each individual person on the Taygetan team that's speaking and their replies, because I think this is a very important thing to clarify as well, that it's you speaking in your videos and others that have donated their time that are speaking the questions and replies.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point that you are bringing up, because yes, some people do get confused. I actually see it in the early videos. Maybe some newcomers are coming and they are like trying to discredit me by saying, well, who are you trying to pull? This is the same voice, the same accent. You're talking with yourself. Yes, it is me reading from the transcript. I'm only actually putting a filter on their voice. Like if I'm speaking for them, I'm putting it like an echo or a distant filter, so it's recognized that it's them speaking. But yeah, I'm reading from the transcript. We also had audio with them a few times. However, that audio was never authorized to be published. Maybe, hopefully, I hope one day. We had an audio with a Taygetan pilot, a man. That was a few years ago. It happened a few times. And also Yaski Zvaru, which is an extraterrestrial young girl. She's around 9, but she's ancient soul. And she's one of our main contacts. She also connected through the audio once, even though she did put a little filter on her voice, because that's another topic. There are all kinds of Federation rules, actually, with regards to communication with Earth, with the surface, as they call it, and and having voice come through, actually, it's not allowed. So she had to put a little filter on her voice, but we could hear her, and it was exciting.
Yeah, thanks for clearing that up, Gosia, because it can be confusing for someone new, and it only makes sense that you do it that way. Otherwise, you would have to say, "This is me asking a question. This is Swaru's reply. This is Robert asking a question. And Neka's reply, and Alanim's reply, and so on." And it only makes sense with putting 2 and 2 together. But unfortunately, some people can't do that. But thanks very much for clearing.
This is actually what Robert in the Spanish channel does. He says, Zvaru speaking, Robert speaking, Aneka speaking. Yeah, but I just changed the filter, and I hope it's recognizable who is speaking.
It is, and it makes it clear to differentiate between the people that are speaking, and it makes sense that you do it like that. But I think that some people get it confused and think that, you're channeling because of the accent and you're changing your voice and all that. So it's good to clear that up. So let's get into the information here, because the majority of it is really profound. You dive into many topics, like you stated, from spirituality, metaphysical topics, worldly issues, AI, ancient history, 5D ascension, and the very technical stuff, like your video that you just released today, which I did not get the chance to figure out because it was didn't get the chance to watch because it was an hour before we were supposed to come on the show. But it's all really, really interesting, and I enjoy it. And from what I can tell, they've made some pretty spot on predictions as well. Like with the January 6th event, they predicted that. They called out the 2020 stuff as a hoax, which we see how that turned out. And they were right. And it comes at a really, really good time in history, And I also like the fact that they clarify where they're from, because when people say Pleiadians,
Yes.
what are they really referring to? Are they
Yes.
referring to the constellation of Pleiades or some other place? Because from my understanding, there's many different species of
Yes.
Pleiadians in the constellation of Pleiadians, which technically it's not a constellation, but a star cluster in the constellation of Taurus. But you understand what I'm saying when anyone
Yeah.
claims to be in contact with Pleiadians, especially channelers, which we just cleared up that you're not a channeler. What Pleiadians are they talking to? So it's very, it's very verifiable that, they say that they're from Taygeta, which is a verifiable star. If you look up the star cluster in Pleiades, you see at the top right-hand corner, the star Taygeta. So, sorry, that was a little long-winded, but tell us more about their home planet, because I'm sure they've spoken about it before. And what kind of civilization are they?
Yeah, no, that's also a very good point about, just before I go into the society, about their world. It's a very good point, because people normally, when they channel, especially, it's so general, Pleiadians, it's so generic, it's so worn out that actually it sounds, many people actually even like, they don't like that. Pleiadian sounds too new agey and sounds just too washed out and has many stereotypes. And they don't actually like to be called Pleiadians. They insisted we are from Taygeta, because in Pleiades there are so many races, so many different races. Like, for example, Mayans, and now I don't remember the star system, but yeah, the Mayans, who are exactly actually the same as Mayans on Earth, that they went back to their star system, looked like them as well. They are totally different. They have different culture and they have different ideas. And some of these civilizations are not even interstellar. In Pleiades, in the so-called 5D. They told us that by choice, not because they are like, idiots or something. They couldn't figure it out how to be interstellar. No, it's not that. It's just that by choice, they don't have the need to go outside and be, exploring. Taygeta is a very, they're a race of explorers. They love to go out there and explore, and they told us that actually they are famous for leaving their little skeletons out in space because of disasters or something that happened, or accidents or whatever. But yeah, many of those are not interstellar because of the choice. And that's why it's important to specify who are you talking to. Otherwise, it sounds too generic, and they're actually trying to break many of these new age stereotypes, which, by the way, were seeded, a lot of them, by the CIA. Because CIA, can I talk about this?
Yes.
Imagine. Okay, because CIA is everywhere, and not just in a commercial mainstream culture, but also infiltrating and invading the so-called alternative culture and societies, because that's where the people are waking up and asking questions, especially asking questions about life beyond Earth. So that's specific. So that's especially the sector they need to control, because they need to control the answers that these people, freshly awakening people, will be posing. So Taygetans are breaking many of these stereotypes. One of those stereotypes, we can get into that as well, but I know you're asking about the Taygeta society. I had that in my mind to answer as well. One of these stereotypes is that, first of all, they are not angels. They are not beings of light. They are physical beings with all the physical necessities that you can imagine. They go to the bathroom, they eat, they sleep, they get tired, they have emotions. They are biological beings, because life in the so-called fifth density outside is all physical, biological, unless we go up in densities, then it becomes non-physical, but that's another topic. But yes, that's one stereotype. And another stereotype is, they're all just love and light and peace, and it's not true. They are also warriors and soldiers, and they get angry, and and they are not like those orbs of light full of harmony. And another stereotype, life outside Earth is not also all love and rainbows. There are actually conflicts, there are agendas, there's all kinds of interest going on between races. Even though, and that will answer your question about Taygeta, the life in Taygeta itself is quite peaceful and harmonious. A lot of these conflicts actually happen around Earth. That's why also many of these young and adventurous Taygetans come to Earth, because they are looking for action and they are looking for help. They want to contribute. They are very idealistic. They are mostly young and very passionate about helping. So that's one of the stereotypes as well. Another big can of worms, which we opened some time ago and which we're actually getting into conflict with other people who are talking about this, is the topic about federation. Because, you know, there are all sorts of ideas floating around that the federation also is just love and light, and is just this galactic institution full of light and helping liberate the planet Earth. And that's also here not exactly how it is. It's not that it's not that way, but there's more to the story. And we have about 10 or more videos just on the topic of the Federation in my playlist, because I have everything according to the playlist. And there is a playlist on Federation, and you can look that up. And it's going to be also quite mind-bending about what they say about the Federation.
Yeah, the Galactic Federation, that's a whole other
Yes.
thing. And you know, it was a
Yeah.
huge topic in 2019 through up until now, that there was this Galactic Federation that was coming to save us and free us from all of our problems here on the planet, and we need not worry. Well, we've seen how that's turned out so far, but I never really got down with the whole Galactic Federation stuff. For one, it has the word Fed in it, right? And the Fed isn't what we need more of on the planet. And second, if there is indeed a Galactic Federation out there, it can't be a good thing. It means that we've messed things up to such a huge scale here on the planet that we need a galactic policing system to come in, and we can't figure this out on our own. And that's not good news for us, I don't think.
Well, they have been around for a very, very, very long time. Actually, the Galactic Federation, which they call Galactic Federation of Planets, of course, this is a human language. So that word, like you said, federation, is just some kind of equivalent of how it's called in their language, which, by the way, I think they told us in the main language is Andromedan. It's kind of like English, but in space. So yes, it is a conglomerate of thousands of different races, and it has been organized eons ago, when actually the Lyrians, which is a base humanoid race in space, Illyrian, where we are all coming from. This is our root, where they were fleeing during the Orion Wars from the reptiles and all that, and Dracos. So that federation was set up to help all these races, to help them fight those invaders. And also there are other like trade rules and different things going on in the federation. But yeah, but right now, so going back to what you were saying, that if we have the federation, is because we screwed something up. Well, like I said, it has always existed, and they have been always around. And I don't think they are there because we screwed something up, because they have been managing this place. They are like this place managers. You could call that policing, maybe in some way, yes. They also do a lot of good things as well. They do actually police this place against the negative races as well. So some of that is true. It's not like they are some kind of an evil organization. It's just that there are a lot of groups and a lot of interests in there, and it's not that they are actually there to liberate us, because that's not how it works. We need to do the work. So
absolutely, and I agree with that, and that, you know, we have to evolve ourselves. We have to evolve our consciousness, our spirituality. We have to raise our vibration and get more integrity and more honor into our society before we can do anything. They just can't come here and, you know, do it for us. But I found it really interesting back in 2020. might have been Swaru or Aneka or someone that was saying that it isn't the Galactic Federation isn't the saviors, right? They're the ones that are actually causing a lot of the problems here on the planet and manufacturing these events and creating these psyops and psychological warfare manipulations. Do they still feel that way? Because I understand that things change, right? They're not perfect.
Yes.
They're just like us, and their feelings can change the more information that they get. But is that sort of still their stance on it?
I must say that I haven't been in contact with them for over a month. The communication actually stopped a month ago or so, a bit more, which is not very common, but it does happen every year or so. I don't know, like the actual current state of affairs between them and the Federation right now. The last time we spoke, well, yes, they are very much in rebellion against the Federation and the Federation rules. They are actually not liked by the Federation at all because they are always doing something that the Federation doesn't approve. Like, for example, this contact even is, according to the Federation, too much. Too much is given to the people, even though they are not breaking any rules, they are just typing. But what you said before, oh yes, that they were causing some of that. Well, according to the Taygetans, they are responsible for what happened between 2020 in those years with what's going on in the world.
Yes.
And they were accusing the Federation of guilty if because of omission of action. Okay. Even if they are just being passive, the Federation, and allowing things to happen on Earth, even if they didn't have their hand in this, which is hard to know and pinpoint exactly who and what race and what level of the cabal and the agenda has had their hands in this, the Taygetans still accuse the Federation for omission of action because they didn't do anything to actually change things around. They're just passive. They're allowing things to be. They're allowing too much, according to the two Taygetans, even though on the other hand, they are doing some actions here and there behind the scenes. They always do. But with this, what happened in 2020 and still goes on, they didn't help at all. So Taygetans have released a lot of information on this topic. Like you said, it's not that they predicted was going to happen. In a way, maybe it's just that they knew where it was going and what it was about. And they explained what it was about before it happened. And those videos are not on YouTube, actually. So you need to go to Odysee, because some people who are just watching the YouTube, they're like, oh, they didn't mention anything about this topic. No, we have like 30 videos or so. It's just that they were deleted from YouTube, or I had to directly publish them only on Odysee. So they are on odysee.com. There's a full playlist on that topic. And you can see from the beginning how they called out what was happening. And we're explaining to people and explaining the ingredients, the exact ingredients of what's in the so-called, as I call them, papayas. That's a code word.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway,
And that was really mind-blowing whenever they came, because it confirmed so much for me, because I knew what it was from the very jump too. And I knew that it wasn't anything like they were saying it was. And that video that you produced on that topic from the very beginning, in the very beginning of 2020, when it basically went down, and they were like, hey, this is what's happening. It's not, I can't really say here, but it's, but it's not real, basically. And I was like, that was just super confirmation for me, because it's what I knew was happening as well. So yeah, I really tip my hat to them for coming out and saying that, because I was at a really dangerous time for them to come out and say that it's basically a giant, huge hoax,
Yeah, because not many people actually still knew what this was about. It was just coming out. And yeah, so I don't know, ask me anything. I could talk about in all different directions here.
Well, let's take it a little bit back to their civilization, because
Yeah.
you've done
Okay.
some videos on AI and how AI works. I believe you did 4 videos on the AI topic. So how do they view AI on their planet Gosia? Because everyone here looks at AI as a huge threat, but I have to imagine that AI could be used for good, like on their ships
Yes.
and navigation and doing things that take up too much time that aren't letting us live a harmonious life here on Earth. A positive AI could eliminate those things, correct?
Yes, correct. There are all kinds of and types of AI, even though some time back, Aneka did say that the invasive type of AI is actually one of the greatest threats for the humankind. But that's a specific type of AI. It doesn't mean that just AI for being AI is something invasive and something negative. It actually runs through their society. It sustains their ships. The first type of AI I made a video on is the AI that they use in their spaceships. How it's all operated by the AI, how it's like a mother to them. They call her her. It's a female, and they talk to her, and she takes care of the well-being of the crew and provides support on all subjects. And it is very harmonious, and it's always, as they said, a reflection of its creator. So it doesn't have doesn't pose a threat, because it will always be reflecting and projecting who the creators are and the mentality of the creators. So the AI of their ships, which is conscious actually in its own way, it has its own type of consciousness, through which Source operates, because Source can operate through all different modes of existence. You know, it operates through crystals, through rocks, trees. So it also operates, and it uses the spaceships as an interface, so to speak. So so we have the video on that if you want to deepen that subject. And the AI there takes away a lot of manual work that otherwise, you know, here on Earth we need to waste time on. So for them, it's very helpful, even though their society is very technological and very advanced, and a lot of it is based on that AI that takes away those hard tasks. They are very artistic actually, and they go back to the simple, which is now another angle, another topic maybe to discuss. But yeah, they have reached such a level of technological advancement, and the AI operates all these different tasks, that they are now appreciating going back to the simple life and doing things manually. But going back to the subject of AI, so that's one topic of AI, harmonious type of AI that lives in a symbiosis with them. Symbiosis. And then there's also an invasive type of AI, which I discussed this in a video number 2, and it's very ancient. No one really knows its origin, and it's type of a Borg being or civilization, which is not really a being. It just uses beings as interface for its own agendas, and it goes around.
That's SI, right? Sentient intelligence.
Sentient, yes, in its own way, yes. Yes, and it goes around invading civilizations. And here Dor Kalel, who is a man, Taygetan man, explained to us that there are full civilizations already absorbed by that invasive AI consciousness. None of the known ET races around us have been absorbed by that. But you have to be very careful and look for the signs, because as he explained, sometimes it's hard to know that you are being invaded until it's too late. And many of these civilizations have perished because that AI absorbs the organic, and you know, it has to do with the transhumanism agenda and all that. So actually we are now at the risk of that. And we're at the stage where we are at the risk of that invasive AI. It does have to do with the black goo, you know, and even with one of the specific ingredient within the papaya, which is also linked, you know, the black thing to the black goo. It's all related, and it's all related to that invasive AI. But
Yeah.
not all AI is regressive or negative or something to fear. It can be very helpful and symbiotic also.
Yeah, and I feel that, why people are so against AI here on the planet and believe that AI is something bad is because they believe robots are going to take their jobs, right? Because unfortunately, we're living on living off of a fractional reserve banking cartel system, and a lot of people rely on these kinds of manual labor jobs that the AI would be taking from them, and they do those jobs no matter how crappy they may be to provide for themselves and their family. So there's a reluctancy there because of the monetary system. And in that video, I don't know if it was Swaru or Aneka that was seeing it, but that, like you mentioned, that AI really isn't the problem. AI isn't the threat.
Exactly.
It's the SI, it's the sentient intelligence, which is programmed by itself, that it's not empathic, that it needs no one, that it's only interested in pure and hard logic, and its only intention is, like you said, to assimilate planets, which I think was really weird, because right after I watched that video on the topic, the next day that article came out about the Google engineer making the statement that Google's AI that they were working on went sentient. I don't know if you're aware of that or saw that article or not, but I thought that was really interesting, that I just watched that video, and then the next day the sentient intelligence, the engineer at Google, was then put on leave because he had made the statement that their AI had went sentient.
Yeah. And okay, and just going back to your point before about AI taking away the jobs, actually this was mentioned also in the video that we made. And Aneka is speaking that on Earth people are afraid of jobs being taken away, but it's not the problem of that kind of AI. It's the problem of the monetary system that should be completely eliminated. And that's where the problem lies, because in their society there is no money. Something I didn't mention, maybe people don't know. There is no economy. They have replicators at home, and they can produce anything they want from energy. It's explained in detail how it works in mechanics of manifestation video that we have. So they don't need money and economy, and in that type of society, that type of harmonious AI is very helpful and beneficial to the society. It takes away all these boring jobs that you need to do. So it's not the problem in the AI itself, it's in the system on Earth itself that we need to rely on money. And also going back to what you said about the sentient AI and that regressive AI, interesting point that Yaski actually mentioned, that even though that regressive, now we're talking about regressive negative AI, even though that regressive AI is already kind of self-aware and self-designing, doesn't need creator at its point because it's self-reproducing itself. She mentions that actually somewhere, in the past, she believes that it still had to have some sort of creator, that it couldn't just manifest by itself. And but it's hard to pinpoint who that creator was. It had to be some sort of a negative race, or maybe, she mentions it, maybe it was a weapon system that got out of hand, out of control, and took its own life. Took on its own life. It's just that it's buried somewhere in the history and in time. So it looks like it's self-reliant, but she believes, that's her opinion here, that it had to have a creator somewhere in the past. And yes, even though they are sentient, it's still a different type of consciousness than that of the living organic beings. Because everything has consciousness, everything has a spark of life in it, and has some sort of consciousness, but it's a different type of consciousness than that of the beings. Anyway, you have to of the living beings, organic beings. You have to watch those videos if you want to know more, because
absolutely,
we could just talk about this topic for a whole night.
I recommend checking out those videos. Very informative. But you just spoke about how they don't have a monetary system, which makes me think that they've figured out a bunch of different ways to have their society run and operate. Have you ever asked them how they got to this point in their society, like socially, consciously? Because it seems like they got their shit together way better than we do here on our planet. Did they have to go through any of the growing pains that we may be facing, that we're facing right now on the planet, or that we have faced in the past, or to get to the point where they are?
Okay, that's a very interesting question, which I actually, unfortunately, don't have many answers to. But yes, they had problems in the past. They told us that now, for a very long time, they are a very quite peaceful and harmonious society. But somewhere in the past, there were problems. Yes, they're actually quite military as well, even though they are not the strongest militarily civilization in Pleiades. They are quite well equipped in that sense. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are there because there are wars to fight. It's just that's how they are. And it's an interesting question. What kind of problems did they have in the past that led them to where they are now? I don't think they ever had money. They never had money. That's just something that's going on Earth. So if they had problems, it wasn't the economic system they had to grow out of. That would be a separate interesting video to make, the problems and conflicts of the Taygetan society in the past. So I would have to note that down to ask them in detail.
I mean, it makes sense that there would be other problems, because you couldn't just automatically be a 5D society and operate peacefully. I don't think, maybe that's just my 3D perspective, and I only have that to reference to here on Earth because this is all that I know. But it would make sense that they would have to go through some problems and some issues to figure it out. But I'm not 100% sure because I've never been there. I've never been outside of Earth, so I don't really know. I just thought it was kind of interesting.
I have a feeling, well, but based on what I know, that it's not necessary, and is that you need to grow out of the type of problems that we have to reach what they have. I think there are thousands of harmonious civilizations out there that never had the level of problems that we have had or we are having on Earth. This is a very unique planet and a very unique situation here with its own very unique type of conflicts and challenges. And that's why many souls actually incarnate here, for the experience, for the challenge, for the contrast, for the limitation, for the adventure, observation, all these different reasons. Why? Because out there they feel there's not much to grow through because it's so harmonious. But whether in the past, all past, they were always harmonious. I don't know exactly. For sure, there are some problems here and there. The major problem was when they were escaping with those Orion Wars, and they were escaping from the reptilian invasion, and they were scattered, the Illyrians, all over the galaxy and inhabiting all these different planets. But actually, what happened before that they don't even know. It's very, very, very deep back in the past. So they don't even have the beginning of everything. All they know is that the Illyrian race have always existed. It's something that has always been, and there is no like specific beginning point. And it's also the timing there is different. It's not sequential like here. It's not like the line that develops from here to here. It's all very cyclical and spiral-like, and loops are going on. Actually, that's another topic.
Yeah, like what you just said, though, a lot of people here are here for the experience, right? And that's what I've been talking about on my channel too. I think our entire reality is all about the experience, because we get to come here and we get to experience this duality and polarity that we have to live through. And I also think it's really interesting, Gosia, that they always speak about how there's higher levels to everything, right? Different ways to look at things from a higher point of view, that nothing just happens for one particular reason, which really resonates with me. And from my understanding, that we're looking at things from a very limited perspective in a worldly 3D view, and trying to make sense of certain things is our brain trying to quantify the information. But the problem is we have nothing to reference it to, like I was stating earlier, because it's outside of our norm, right? And we tend to fall short in our understanding. And this is a common theme through a lot of your videos, and I just really resonate with that.
Yes, it is a common theme, and this is something that many people actually still do not fully get, because they are not able to embrace and integrate various multiple points at the same time being valid. And this is something that characterizes many of their concepts and many of their explanations. Just because they're explaining something from this angle and then from that angle, it doesn't invalidate the first one. And they include both, as they used to call, they have a holographic mind, which now they are preferring the word holistic, the one that integrates multitude of different perspectives. Like, for example, now, with the topic of densities, like we talk about the densities and we talk about timelines and all that, but also they explain that there are no timelines and densities from a higher perspective, how everything is one mass. And some people just cannot wrap their heads around this. What do you mean there are no densities and there are no timelines? If before in the video you were talking about how Svaru this and that came from another timeline, because they are time travelers, that's another topic. So people just can't integrate multiple views in one. It's black or white. It has to be this or it has to be that. It cannot be both. And the higher thinking, how they are teaching us, integrates all these different angles and perspectives and platforms. And just because something is black, it doesn't mean it's not white. It's both, can be both. That's what the integration and expansion is about. When you expand, so-called ascend, which they don't like that word very much either, it's too new agey again, but it's like expansion. Well, in a way, when you're ascending, you are integrating more into your reality and into your perception. And as you integrate more into your perception, you see that that point does not exclude that point. They're actually operating quite well together and even explain each other. So,
yeah, that they're working simultaneously, right? And
yes,
that all of reality, everything that happens is of the average of the influence of many different perspectives happening all at the same time, and that we have these parallel universes, alternate dimensions, alternate realities that also influence us here in this reality. But then that gets into which reality is more important. Well, some would say it's this one because we're in it and it's tangible, but that's not necessarily true, because like they've said, and like I've said, there's many different layers to look at things from, lots of different angles. And I have to agree with them on saying that nothing happens for one singular specific reason. We just have all of these groups and individuals fighting for their perspective when they don't realize it's a perspective. And more than likely, they didn't even come up with it on their own. It was fed to them through propaganda, TV, the media, religious programming, and indoctrination. And through that, again, we are limited. And by such thoughts and ideas are only applicable to each individual perception in this 3D reality.
Yes, precisely. Nothing happens for one specific reason. And one of the examples, for example, is the topic of the moon and the 3D Van Allen belts, where years ago we were explaining why they were set up and why the Van Allen bands were put in place. And then recently, Athena provided another perspective where she's explaining from another angle why the moon is there and why the Van Allen bands were there. And again, people are saying, "What are you saying? Well, you are eliminating what you said before." We're not eliminating what we said before. Nothing happens for just one reason, ever. And also, here we are having multiple perspectives coming from multiple different extraterrestrial races and beings. So just because someone who has a contact with someone says one thing, it doesn't necessarily mean that the other person who has a different information on that topic is not relevant or is not providing another key to the puzzle, because they are different races, and each of these races have different perspectives. It's just like you were talking to the Romanian or talking to the Australian about something that happens on Earth. They will have different understanding. Well, imagine not only same beings on the same planet, like Romanians and Australian, but totally different beings that are not even humanoid. They are humanoid. They are, Alpha Draconians. There are Andromedans. They are Syrians. Totally different races, and all of them, if they communicate with people, which some of them do, they will provide different perspective, different philosophy, different angle, different understanding, based on their view of reality. So,
and they're never going to talk bad about themselves either, right? Like each individual group is always going to tell you the best parts about them, right? And that's going to give a different perception. So then, that brings into the question, well, how many of these groups are actually bad? How many of them are actually good? Because if you were to speak to each one of them individually, they would say that they are the best and that this other group is bad. But then when you talk to the bad group will tell you that the group that just called them bad is the bad one. You know what I mean? So it's really confusing. And it's all, perspective, just like what you were saying.
I am actually very curious, and now maybe this will sound very strange, but I'm actually very curious to know what the reptilian perspective is on everything. I always actually said that. I even told Taygetas this. I would like to talk to the reptilian, like a real reptilian dude, and just, hey, explain to me your idea of things. Like, what are you doing? How are you viewing this? How are you viewing life? How are you viewing reality on Earth? I would like to get their perspective, not because I don't believe that some of them, because not all reptilians are bad. Not that I don't believe, for example, what the Taygetans say about reptilians, that they are regressive, but because I would just like to get into their head and see it from their angle. Because like you said, it's all different perspectives. So it's all very complex. And as Taygetans always tell us, because of that, what they advise is to actually listen to all and not close yourself and limit yourself to just one source of information. Unless you truly resonate with it, then go with it, of course. But do not stop listening to other people. We will never tell you not to listen to other people or stop listening to this or that. We're actually very careful about that, and we don't want to go into that, and we don't want to talk about other contactees or other people. It's for people to discern on their own. I cannot be here some sort of external authority, yet again, telling people what they should do or who they should listen. It's on you, people, for you to decide. However, if you do feel truly, close to certain source of information, then listen to your intuition, of course, because it's also about what's the word? I don't know, about your time, about reserving your time resources wisely. Because what you listen to, they always tell us, what you listen to and how you spend your time is going to influence your whole being and your reality and how you interpret the world. So be careful about that as well. But do not stop listening to other people.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And I do have a gentleman that I think that you would be interested to talk to that is a Alpha Draconian channeler. If you are really interested in communicating with him, I can give you his information and you guys can connect. He has really differing opinions, but I take everyone and everything into consideration, right? No topic is off limits here on this channel. But I guess the next question would be for the audience and not so much for me. And we kind of already, touched on this because, I can hear them saying now, well, if they're up there, if the Taygetan team is really up there and they're really in the orbit of Earth, why don't they do anything, right? Why don't they do anything to help? And now I know that they are doing stuff to help. This is just a question, me, giving it to, through, other people that I think that they would, want to know. But if the Galactic Federation, the Taygetan team and everything is really up there, why don't they come down and help us? Gosia?
Yeah, that question is something that drives me mad. It makes me angry because, and I do get angry too, because I have been. I can only speak for Taygetans, by the way. I don't know what the Federation is exactly up to, even though I do know they are doing things always. But according to Taygetans, they are not doing enough to help the people specifically with this problem that we've been having in the past 2 years, which was and is super urgent. And they just sat on their asses, by the way, not doing enough, according to Taygetans. So that's what separates Federation and Taygetans here on this topic. But speaking for Taygetans, I get mad when I see this, because how can people be so judgmental and say this if they don't truly know what's going on behind the scenes? Taygetans are not, or any extraterrestrial races actually, are not there to display their feats and their action and their productivity, and they don't want to take credit for anything. They've been involved with this earth and with this reality for centuries. And sometimes there were times they were more active, less active, but they've been around all the time, and they're always helping, and they're always helping in a different ways, but it always has to be done behind the scenes, in invisible, subtle ways, even through such a cliche thing as a guidance and star seeds. As Tor-Kalel actually said, you are waiting for the help. You are the help. We, the star seeds, are the cavalry. We are that help. We were actually up there, looking down, looking at the situation. How can we help? Well, let's go in there and let's try to change things from within. That's the only way that will truly stick, to transform things from within, to transform people's consciousness from within. If there is going to be any overt, direct, external action, it's going to be viewed as invasive, and it's not going to make permanent changes. The change needs to come from within, from the consciousness of the people themselves, and that's what the starseed's role is here, to come here and influence that dominant frequency of the human collective from inside. So one, we have been, I'm saying we because I perceive myself as one of those starseeds as well, who is involved in helping, like thousands of others who are on Earth. So we have been helping. You are there. You probably who you are watching, and you also. Oh my God, I forgot your name. What was your name?
Ryder.
Oh, Ryder. Yes. Oh my gosh, I was going to say, and you, Ryder, you are also that help. So they are helping through us. All of us are helping, and like I said, they are doing things behind the scenes, always involved, and many times even risking their lives. There are some people out there who are in contact with the Federation, and they always also say that they are risking their lives. And it is true, some of those low Federation levels, yes, they do even risk their lives in many situations. Okay, sorry, because I'm rambling now. I don't know where to go from here.
No, I don't believe that anyone can come and do anything for us, right? This is why they can't do anything and won't do anything, is because we have to adjust the way that we do things here on our own. Mostly our ethics, our morals, our respect, our spirituality, and the corrupt systems will fall away. Now they can assist us, but they're not going to come here and do anything for us, because if we increase our level of morality, we increase our honor, then the corrupt systems won't be able to stand in that vibration of honor. This is the biggest trick, is separation, divide and conquer, get the people on two opposite ends of the spectrum, dumb us down and feed us poison. And the problem will never be solved because we're too busy fighting and arguing with each other. This is why we have so many manufactured events, is to keep everyone on one side or the other. And that's just my personal thoughts.
Yeah. And people are also asking why they are not releasing or giving technologies and things like that. And they also told us on that front that they cannot help us more in that area unless the cabal is still in place. So a lot of these technologies are already available. We have them. but they are secret. They are secret. They are hidden from the public, and until the cabal is removed, they cannot do more in that sense. It's a very complex situation with the cabal, and we also have the videos about this, how actually it's a human consciousness that supports and feeds the existence of the cabals and all that, how people are involved in this loop here, self-sustaining the negativity on Earth. So going back to the help, one, they are doing things behind the scenes always, and two, even if they cannot take credit for that because it's on the people it's on the people to make changes. And like I said, three, they cannot do any more overt actions because society is not ready for that. It's going to be viewed as invasive. And four, and that's not a topic here, the Federation actually doesn't really want, I feel, this Earth to become interstellar and 5D. They want to maintain this playground because that's what it has become through the centuries. It's for the various races to come in here and use this human biosuit, because that's what they told us. We are actually multiple extraterrestrial races using biosuit playing humans. So I don't think the Federation is really interested at this point to make such drastic changes for us. They are just observing and using this place for the souls to come in and have their experience. So there are multiple reasons here happening at once.
As like a farm, and like kind of like what you said, a playground too, because I think that's what they kind of look at us as, is like a farm and like a playground, and they can come in their avatars and then have this 3D experience.
Yeah, but we have to also remember, because many people also say that we are here as prisoners. We also don't believe in that. So even though this is some sort of a playground and farm more by the regressive races, and playground for the more positive races, we are all here voluntarily. So it's not that they are using it as a playground. We are using it as a playground because we are them. We came from there. We incarnated for, like we said before, multiple reasons. And as Taygetan explained, none of us here is kept as prisoner. What does keep you here in loops, making it look like you are a prisoner, is mental manipulation and a level of mental manipulation that goes on Earth. And that's what keeps you in loops and reincarnated and coming back, because they are controlling your ideas and limiting your perception. So when you die, you are looping back into the same. You kind of forgot the way out. So it's not that you are a prisoner, but you are sort of a prisoner of your own mind. No one is imposing here anything on you more than by imposition of ideas here on Earth.
Right, and any karma that's generated is by our own guilt and shame that we hold on to in this 3D reality. It's self-imposed. It's a self-imposed policing system, I think, anyway.
Yes, we also have a video on karma where that's exactly what they said, that this is like monopoly money, so to speak. When you are playing Monopoly, you know you are playing a game, and all that money is valid and has its value as long as you play the game. When you realize this is a game, this money means nothing. So karma is a sort of that if you are still within the game, duality, guilt, and right and wrong and all that, and all these different self-imposed ideas, because in the end that's what they are. Even if someone imposes those ideas on you, you are giving them permission and you are accepting them as yours. So in the end, it's you still. It's you. It's responsibility. So the karma disappears when you realize it's a game and you become free, and you can go anywhere you want. You can incarnate anywhere you want. There are no archons waiting for you, forcing you to go back. Even though they do exist, they might be there somewhere whispering ideas into your head. They are, again, using your own ideas to convince you to go back, to loop you back. Oh, you are guilty, or you have sinned. You have to correct your mistakes. But that's again on you. It's your responsibility where you are going and where you are deciding to go. But no one, no entity, and no one has the power over you to decide where you want to be and where you want to go. And that includes after death.
Absolutely. I agree so much. And a lot of people want to mystify, their controllers and their creators, and they want to blame it on the archons. They want to blame it on all of these illusionary outside sources instead of taking responsibility and realizing that it's us. It's our fault. It's our problem. We are the reason why things are like this. But people, they really don't want to look in the mirror because, they want to deny it and have deniability. So they blame it on illusionary outside things so that they can feel better about their situation or their problems or the state of the world that they're in. And I think that that's a big part of a lot of the conspiracy community as well. It's been infiltrated. It's been, like you said in the beginning of this video, it's been infiltrated, and information has been fed from three-letter organizations as basically psyops. And it's a huge, there's so many different layers and levels to this whole thing. But I guess I just have one more question for you, and I'm going to let you go. We've been on here for a minute, and I appreciate your time here tonight, Gosia. I've really much enjoyed the conversation. So is there anything that maybe the Taygetean Pleiadian crew has spoken with you about, or given you any kind of information that you may not have shared that in your videos before that might be of concern or of importance? And you don't have to get into any deep details about it, but just something new that maybe your audience hasn't heard before, that if they're watching this video, that they can kind of grasp onto or hold on to. It doesn't need to be personal. It can be really about anything, but something maybe that you might have held back at some point because you didn't know how that it was going to be viewed, or is there anything like that, Gosia, that you would be willing to discuss?
There is. And thanks for asking. There is something, there are probably more than one thing, but there's something big that we haven't discussed yet in our videos. And I don't think I've ever mentioned that, really. Maybe I mentioned it in some comments here and there when people are asking, but it's about meat. It's about meat, eating meat and veganism. It's not new information. We actually had it for like 3 years, but we sort of held back, from it because it might be controversial, and we need to. We sort of wanted to gather all the data and all the facts first to kind of present it as a solid video with all kinds of solid information. But in the beginning, Svarov Era was mentioning that you shouldn't eat meat, and anything with heart and eyes or something like that was mentioned. And actually later studies, because they are always analyzing the situation and looking at different things and learning new things, that's actually something that characterizes them. And what they stress is that to be always open to new information, to flow with the change. And nothing is ever stuck, nothing is ever solidified as an absolute ultimate reality. So what they have discovered actually is that some people here on Earth in 3D, because up there, they are vegans. They don't eat meat, but they have discovered actually some people do need meat here in the 3D, that we're a different construction and it's not that strict. It's not black and white that you cannot eat meat, otherwise you're not going to ascend. And no, it's actually not true. So eat whatever you feel you need, if it's meat. Of course, the animal cruelty, that's another topic, because that's why one of the reasons why we didn't mention it, because we didn't want to sound like they are condoning that business. It's not. We are not condoning animal cruelty and all that, but some people here, if not all, I don't know, we will have to look at the information that they gave us, that was 3 years ago, need ingredients coming from meat. And if you feel that you need it, don't feel guilty about it. don't feel bad. Don't feel like you are not gonna, raise your frequency. Just go what feels right for you. So, and there's a big agenda behind veganism as well, which that's again another controversial topic, which we held back for now. But that's it. And you are the first one that actually gets that information so openly from me in the interview.
Thank you so much, Gosia. I really appreciate your time here tonight. I really much enjoyed the conversation. Let people know where they can find you all over the internet. Give them your website and your two channels, because you have the one in English and then the other one in Spanish, right?
Yes. So the English one is Cosmic Agency, and the website is important because there are transcripts there of all the videos, and you can download. There are also translations done in all different languages. So the website is www.zvaru.org, SWARUU.org. And there's also a forum, and Spanish one is Agencia Cósmica.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Was there anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you very much for the invitation and for the conversation. And thank you for the audience. Thank you to the audience for listening.
Yes, thank you so much, Gosia. The links to all of her information will be in the description of this video. I very much implore you to go over there and check that out. Wonderful information. She has so many videos on so many different topics, kind of like what I try and do here on this channel. But for everyone else, thanks for watching and listening. Much love to everyone in the chat. Please be sure to hit the thumbs up button to help this channel out in the YouTube algorithm. Share, subscribe, hit the bell icon as well for notifications. The link to my channel on Rokfin is in the description. Sign up over there. Hit the follow button for my premium content. Also, you can catch this episode and any of my other episodes anywhere that podcasts are served, and download it directly on Spreaker.com to your device for free. Links are in the description. Again, thank you so much, Gosia. I appreciate your time and your effort in putting in all the work that you've done into making your videos. I hope that you keep doing them because the information is very, very needed at this time on the planet.
Thank you very much. And thank you for your work as well.
Thank you. And remember, we're not only in a spiritual war, but a war on humanity. Stay aware, stay alert, keep love in your heart for everyone. Stay safe out there. And if you can see through the illusion, you are the solution. See you guys next time.